a newcomer to Buffalo in '68, and I had met Clark, and they were just finishing the terminus, kind of the end of the expressway, and I was nonplussed because I had just been in Europe for 5 years, working in all over the Middle East and seeing beautiful, beautiful things, and had learned a whole new respect for archaeology and ancient artifacts. And it was clear to me at the time that this particular artifact, the Humboldt Expressway, with the trees and the whole links between the park, the Martin Luther King Park and Delaware Park, was the centerpiece of Olmsted's masterpiece, and it was his masterpiece. And when they did that, in my mind, I thought at the time, this is equivalent to taking down one of the great monuments in American culture. It's equivalent to going to Paris and cutting down the Eiffel Tower. I mean, it's that important. This was the central piece, and it was also instrumental in holding this community together. And as soon as they did that, the community fell apart. We now have two communities, which we struggle to bring them together politically, socially, culturally, in every way because of this damn road. And so Clark's idea, which I immediately jumped on with him, was to try and figure out a way to cover it, which made eminently good sense. So he's been on this. I think we had our first conversation in the early 70s.
Wow.
Really. I mean, that was I had met Clark at City Hall because he was working, I don't know who he was working with. But
He was Public Works.
Right, Public Works, right. And I was doing work with Public Works. So we talked about this many times, and we swore to each other, somehow, Clark, we'll get this done. And so it sort of languished for a long time, and then it's come back, and now we have rock. And it's, I think, probably one of the most important, from an artistic and cultural and economic initiative, it's probably the most important thing we're doing in the city. I mean, we can talk about the Peace Bridge, we can talk about a lot of other stuff, but this cost this city $250,000 in terms of its value, because it split the community in half and everybody moved out. Didn't have to move out, probably wouldn't have moved out, but it's a travesty that needs to be corrected. And so I think I've been really privileged to work with everybody to kind of participate and throw out my ideas a little bit here and there. And I've been absent the last few weeks, or the last few months, but I'll be back. I'm back, and I'm very excited about this. I think it's a great enterprise.